Finally, the time has come to build the last city on Earth.
Frostpunk's my jam, so I'm gonna talk about it. Welcome to the Dark Souls of city builders. It's cold, everywhere. The whole world is practically a giant ice ball. Luckily, generators were conveniently built just before the world was turned into a giant Tartufo. Now you, in a ragtag group of the English, must use these generators to create the last city in the world, presumably. So I mentioned that this game was the Dark Souls of city builders, in that it is a very difficult game. As someone who resets the game every time a mistake is made or a citizen dies, I have a lot of saved games titled fuck. But it does become manageable once you have a good handle on the mechanics. The game has 7 different missions, or scenarios, and almost all of them are great, but there are a few that stand out. The main story, A New Home, is arguably the best scenario. Discover the inactive generator with a handful of people, rescue some more people, stop a rebellious uprising, and survive an ever-increasing temperature drop. The Arks, the Refugees, and On the Edge are all decent scenarios, but pale in comparison to the main story and The Last Autumn, which has you leading a team to build the generator before the long winter even starts. Survivability is less of an issue, and instead you have to keep your team motivated, either by keeping them happy or killing one person every morning. All scenarios can get pretty dark, if you allow it to, by being bad at the game, or you just enjoy watching your people suffer. Don't bother with the Fall of Winterhome. It's a waste of time and stupid. I'm kidding, of course, but it's ridiculously hard. It had me pulling my hair out trying to complete it perfectly. There's also an endless mode, and it serves its purpose, but it isn't exactly anything special. The best parts of the game come at you almost instantly with the great music. The sad violin starts the song out and builds to motivate you to keep going, almost reminding you of how dire the situation is until the final days where the music is at its most intense. It's very memorable, especially at the last days during the storm of the main scenario, but I don't want to spoil anything. Just play it. Just play the damn game. The game has a really cool steampunk aesthetic that you appreciate more and more the bigger your circular city gets. It's a lot of fun to just zoom in and just look at all the little things and all the people walking by. The one problem is that you can't zoom in far enough. I wish you could zoom in a bit more. The way the game keeps track of your resources and how much access you have is a big plus for me. But in a game like this, you kind of need it. Also, the game has really cool menu sounds when you press buttons like this. Frostpunk 2 has been in development for what seems like forever and will bring in a dieselpunk dynamic which looks pretty dope. But in the meantime, I'd highly recommend this game if you're willing to give it a few tries and allow yourself to really understand the mechanics, because you will fail quite a few times at first. The game goes on sale pretty often. At the time of recording this, it's actually on sale now for about $8. I avoided this game for a while, thinking the cold mechanic would get annoying, but the way it's implemented is actually really well done. Frostpunk is an underrated game, and an experience that I think a lot of people would enjoy. I had a blast playing this game, and it had me coming back well after I finished it. Between the music, the challenges, and the story, it's a rare gaming experience that you don't get very often, and that's why Frostpunk is my jam.